Welcome to SVL Free News and Views for Monday, July 23rd. And behind me, many of you will recognize this pond off of Georgia Avenue. Gina and I moved into a house over here in this neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood to be. Many of you grew up on Carolina Avenue North or Carolina Avenue South or Georgia Avenue. So it took me a while to get here, but looking forward to being in this neighborhood. Great neighborhood in downtown Statesville. I want to thank our sponsors, Mitchell College, Randy Marion, Piedmont Healthcare, Blue Harbor Bank, Fast Field's Key to Escape, the Escape Room, Statesville Family YMCA, and McDonald's of Iredell County. In a news item today on SVL Free News, Statesville native William Sonny Schofield was recently appointed Director of Athletic Operations at Statesville High School. He replaces Denise Hayes, who led the Greyhound athletic programs for the past 3 years. Principal Hans Lassiter said, "These are very exciting times for Greyhound athletics. Mr. Schofield has proven track record of athletic and instructional accomplishments within the former Statesville City School System and the Iredell Statesville schools. He has an equally outstanding relationship with our students, student athletes, and instructional personnel in our school. And we are confident that he will continue the community outreach initiatives and development of high performance expectations his predecessor Denise Hayes initiated during her tenure." So congratulations, Sonny Schofield. Wish you the best there at Statesville High. Okay, we have one segment today. Ron Smith. Now, many of you will remember Ron Smith was formerly the county manager. Then he took a position at the Central Carolina Council of Governments, but now he's back at city manager. So Mike Fuhrman sat down with Ron to find out what he has on his plate and what he has in mind, and how he was hired for this position. So let's take a listen.
Brian. Here in Statesville City Hall with new city manager Ron Smith. Ron, thanks for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
So just wrapping up your second week on the job, give us a little idea what the first 2 weeks have been like.
Well, definitely hit the ground running. There's a lot going on in the city. I didn't realize how many projects there are out there. So I spent the first 2 weeks trying to get myself up to speed with staff, understanding some of the big projects. Also, I've started meeting with our council and having one-on-one meetings to try and figure out their priorities. And in the middle of all that, we had our first council meeting, and I think we got out at 7:30 or 7:45, which was a good thing. So yeah, just kind of reacquainting myself with the city and the people, and figuring out the lay of the land.
So the city council, I guess, has received a little bit of criticism in the media for the hiring process that led to you accepting this job. Could you give us a little background on, how that played out?
Sure. So it kind of started when we started the COG, where I was employed previously. We had been hired to do the search for the city. And we had a meeting, we kind of scoped out what they're looking for, and try to decide, what are the characteristics of a new manager, and I led them through that process. And so after that meeting, I had a couple phone calls, and I was approached about, well, hey, would you be interested in taking the job? And so I said, well, okay, let me think about this. And so we had to put the search on hold because we couldn't we couldn't go through with a search and charge the city money while I'm considering whether or not I'm going to take this job. So through some stops and starts, I finally decided that I would be willing to do it, and so that's basically it. We just had a few discussions, and had some council members reach out to me, and I thought, what, if this is something that everyone is in favor of, then I'd be willing to do it. Didn't want to change jobs that quickly, obviously. So took a lot of thought, a lot of discussion with my family, but it just was better. It's a good fit for me. I know the community, and and that was basically it. Okay.
Now you've got a lot of work on the horizon in your new job. I think you've got a couple of big personnel decisions to make. You're going to be hiring a new police chief and a new Recs and Parks director here in the coming months. Tell me a little bit about what that process will be like, and if you see any other department head level openings on the horizon?
Yeah, I guess the easier one is Parks and Rec. We're already in that process. We've done an assessment center, which basically brought in candidates to put them through, a panel interview, so to speak, and put them in different scenarios, make presentations. So we have the results of those the assessment center, and now it's kind of the ball's in my court, and we're setting up interviews now for, I believe it's the top 4 candidates. Okay. So we should have that one filled fairly soon. Police chief, that's a different story. We've got some timing issues with Chief Barone leaving in September, early September, and then he's going to be basically still on staff until December, but taking vacation and sick time. So it gives us a little more time to work on it, but I've got a plan in place already that I want to present to council just to talk them through the process, the timeline, and really the methodology behind how we want to go through this process. And that's a crucial hire, as is obvious for this city. With some of the things that have happened over the last couple of years, and just the focal nature of a police chief position.
And what about on the horizon? You expecting some more retirements down the road?
Nobody's been overtly, come to me and said, I will be retiring, but all you have to do is look around the city and the buildings and understand that you have people that may be 2, 3, 4 years out. And so I do expect a good bit of turnover. It's actually something that Larry and I talked about back when I was with the county, because the county had a good bit of turnover in the time that I took the manager's job. And he had asked me, well, how'd you deal with those things? Because he was anticipating the same thing happening.
Okay, now right across the street from your office, you probably have the best view in the city of the Vance Hotel. The city council has been trying to figure out what to do with that building basically since they bought it. Tell us where you are in the process, and I think when residents and taxpayers can expect the city to make a decision and actually see some progress.
Well, that's one of the projects I've kind of been trying to get my hands around since I've been here, and it's kind of in a holding pattern, so to speak, because at a previous meeting the council engaged the School of Government, UNC School of Government, to do a financial analysis basically of the rents and what would be sustainable for this building moving forward. So we've had a kickoff meeting or discussion with, we call them DFI, and to scope out the project, to provide them information and kind of get them rolling on what it is that to give them the information to get rolling on what it is they're going to be providing us. So in my mind, that's a crucial report to get back, because that's going to provide validation one way or another on the project that we've been talking about for, I guess, a couple of years now, which is apartments and as has been proposed. So that's a key time coming up, and we've got about 5 weeks from last week to get that done. And once that is done, then the board's gonna be faced with a decision, but they'll have more information at their disposal to make it.
Okay, so good chance we might have a decision this year.
Yes, I think one way or another, I think a decision is gonna have to take place this year. Whether it's to start with a project or not, I don't know. Okay. I don't know, but do know that there's a lot of discussion about it, as you would expect, and trying to go through with the due diligence to make the right decision, because there's some pretty big money associated with the request that's in front of them now.
So in your previous tenure as county manager, the board was pretty aligned philosophically and politically. You have 5 Republicans on the board. Had some turnover in the last election. Mr. Johnson didn't run. but the board was pretty unified in their approach to governing. Since November, we've seen a lot of 4-4 decisions by the Statesville City Council, end with the mayor casting the tie-breaking vote. Even the budget for the next fiscal year, I think there were 6 votes before they got to pass the budget. So obviously there's some differences in the council. What will your role be in working with the council, not to guide their decision one way or the other, but to ensure that they work as a cohesive unit, I guess, for the best interests of the city?
Well, that's a good question. I think one of the things that I'm going to be focusing on is trying to be as transparent as possible with information. Give everyone the same information in order to make the best decision that they can. Also, I'm hoping to build in a little bit more time in our agenda process to talk through issues if somebody has significant questions, because our board is split in a couple of different ways. One is you have folks that are brand new to the board that have not had the experience in dealing with these issues, whereas we have some veterans on the board that have dealt with these types of things a long time. So making sure that the right information is out and the education is there, the ability to ask some questions prior to meetings is going to be important. Whether that changes votes, I doubt it, but it may, may provide an avenue for compromise. It may provide, just a different perspective that someone may have not known by not being able to ask those questions.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time today, and welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
So there you have it. A lot of good information that Mike got out of Ron Smith about what his goal and his vision for Statesville as the city manager. So lots going to be happening here as they hire a new police chief. Also, if they get ready to renovate the Vance Hotel, hopefully. Now, on the show on Wednesday, we're going to be having Bud Welch with Carolina Balloon Fest. Him talking about some of what's going on this year, what to expect. So almost time to get your tickets now. He'll also talk about some new procedures about parking. So if you haven't done it already, go to SVLfreenewsandviews.com to sign up for your email edition. It comes out every morning at 5 a.m. to get you up and started. So have a great Monday, and we'll see you on Wednesday.